All right, happy Monday, everyone. We have a lot to talk about today. We're going to lead off with the one of the most recent executive orders that Trump has signed, and we're also going to be talking about more about the House Republican budget bill and how it could cut over 600,000 people off of Medicaid in just one state alone. And then we're going to talk about some of the recent polls on Trump's approval ratings, and that's going to be from an Elon Musk approved poll. So look out for those videos. But anyways, we're starting off with one of the most recent executive orders, and this is from NPR. Trump signs executive order making English the official language of the U.S. Wow. Okay, so let's add this to the list of completely just dumb executive orders, pointless in the sense that it accomplishes nothing to improve people's lives, except for actually just causing misery, suffering, and just inconvenience, whatever, to other people's lives. And we'll get to that in a second here. We're going to talk to our favorite maggot. Don't want to get myself canceled by Republicans now by calling them a mean word. We're going to talk to our favorite MAGA consultant, ChatGPT, and we're going to get some more information on how this executive order could actually, make people's lives tougher. But yeah, I want to take 1 second to cover some of the other executive orders that Trump has signed that have just. I'm trying to illustrate a pattern here in a lot of executive orders he signed that just. I don't know how you can tell me they are nothing more than just hate based and meant to not improve a single thing, but only cause either misery, suffering, inconvenience, whatever, to other groups of people. Let's talk about some of them. Executive order for there only being two genders, male and female. Who's that help? Changing the name of Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America. Like, that's a part of the pattern. He just doesn't like Mexicans, especially immigrants. I don't know how you can say otherwise at this point. We're going to get to more. Banning transgender women from women's sports. Did a whole video on that. We don't need to get into it now, but just the essence of it. There's only been 23 cases of a trans woman being in a women's sport in the NCAA, nationwide. They take such a small issue and blow it up. This should not be something decided on the federal level. This should be state level, local level, by organization. Anyways, banning the pride flag from federal buildings, directing another crackdown on trans people in the military, ending government support for gender affirming care, ending all semblance of DEI programs, ending all anti-discriminatory hiring laws, attempting to end birthright citizenship, deporting both illegal and legal migrants. And when I say illegal migrants, not just violent criminals, but just people who came here illegally, and that's their only crime, even if they've lived here for 15 years, never did anything else aside from work, have a family, etc. And for the legal ones, there's cases where he is revoking refugee status from Venezuelans, Haitians, and deporting them, and he's ending the further handing out of refugee status. So how can you tell me this dude isn't just these aren't anything other than just hateful? That's just the easiest way to put it. And it's not like he's ending all this it's not like he's leveling the playing field and saying, all right, we're not going to have any protection for anyone. No, at the same time, he's establishing a anti-Christian bias task force, anti-Semitism crackdown task force. Are you kidding me? Anyways, burying the lead here. Let's read more about this. So, President Trump has signed an executive order designating English as the official language of the U.S., the first such designation in the country's history. The order, which Trump signed on Saturday, rescinds a policy issued by former President Bill Clinton requiring agencies to provide assistance programs for people with limited English proficiency. According to a White House fact sheet, the order allows agencies to voluntarily keep those support systems in place. A nationally designated language is at the core of a unified and cohesive society. in the United States is strengthened by a citizenry that can freely exchange ideas in one shared language, the order said. Oh my goodness, dude. It's so childish. And let me be clear, I know it says this is completely voluntary, so an agency can choose not to do it. But Trump has pretty much like full control of every agency at this point. And this is a part of Project 2025. In their words, they are firing anyone who is politically opposed and filling them with loyalists. So he wouldn't sign this order if he wasn't planning on, giving like a top-down crackdown on these accessibility programs for these different agencies. So anyways, English is already the official language in more than 30 states, but Trump's executive order comes at a time when the number of people in the United States who speak languages other than English continues to grow. Roughly 1 in 10 people now speak a language other than English, more than triple the amount compared to 1980, according to 2022 data from the U.S. Census. Trump's order echoes a longtime campaign pledge and is a move the White House says will promote unity, cultivate a shared American culture for all citizens, ensure consistency in government operations, and create a pathway to civic engagement. Oh my goodness, dude. I feel like I'm being gaslit. Okay, so at the same time, some advocacy organizations say the order will hurt immigrant communities and those looking for assistance learning English. Roman Palomares, who heads the League of United Latin American Citizens, criticized the Trump administration's move in a statement issued ahead of the order's official signing. Our founding fathers enshrined freedom of speech, Jesus, freedom of speech in the First Amendment without limiting it to one language. They envisioned a nation where diversity of thought, culture, and expression would be its greatest strength. Declaring English as the only official language directly contradicts that vision, he added. America thrives when we embrace inclusivity, not when we silence the voices of millions who contribute to its success. Damn, that's scathing. But yeah, it's right. And I don't even know where this comes from, aside from like, as the executive orders I mentioned earlier, like he just signs these executive orders that doesn't actually improve anything, but it's more of like a, screw you, like a big middle finger to groups he doesn't like. And that's mainly trans people, immigrants, stuff like that. So yeah, if you want to give me an argument otherwise on how this is some super big-brained idea, go ahead. Comments are open. Anyways, let's consult ChatGPT real quick. And so all I asked was, Trump just signed an executive order to make English the official language of the United States. I put a question mark that threw off my reading. Oh God, I'm an idiot. Anyways, how does this change things? So I basically just said, hey, Trump signed this order. How does this change things? Let's read. On March 1st, 2025, President Donald Trump signed an executive order declaring English as the official language of the United States. This order revokes a 2000 mandate by former President Bill Clinton that required federal agencies and recipients of federal funding to provide language assistance to individuals with limited English proficiency. That's me. Agency discretion. Federal agencies and organizations receiving federal funds now have the discretion to determine whether to continue offering services and documents in languages other than English. The executive order does not mandate changes, but allows agency heads to decide based on their missions and populations they serve. And so it was the case that if you got federal funding, even it sounds like contractors or anyone who does business with the government, so that's a lot. We're kind of required, like, hey, we have a very diverse population that speaks a lot of languages, and we should accommodate that. Sounds like common sense to me. But now they're just saying, no, you don't have to accommodate that anymore. Unreal. Access to services. Critics express concern that this change could reduce access to essential services for non-English speakers, potentially affecting their ability to engage with government programs, access healthcare, and participate in civic activities. State policies. Prior to this order, over 30 states had designated English as their official language. This federal designation may influence remaining states to adopt similar policies. further standardizing English usage in government operations nationwide. And like, they're acting like, and I don't even know what they're acting like. I don't even know what their argument for this is. But like, what do we have like agencies out there like communicating in like only Spanish or something? Like, what are we doing? Like, is English being discriminated against somewhere? Like, are we starting to have a shift where we don't use English as our primary language? Like, what are we doing? Is, like I said, this does nothing to improve anyone, or improve anyone's lives, but it only serves to just cause a massive inconvenience and potentially misery and suffering if these people who don't speak English can't access the services they need. And let me be clear, this isn't like there are a lot of non-English speakers that are U.S. citizens. This isn't illegal immigrants or whatever. Like, there are U.S. tax-paying U.S. citizens who don't speak English that are going to have troubles getting the services they need if that agency so chooses to, get rid of the accessibility options for different languages. Insane. Cultural impact. The order aims to promote unity and a shared, like, where's the unity here? And a shared American culture by encouraging the adoption of English. However, has raised concerns among communities where languages other than English are prevalent, such as Puerto Rico. That's crazy. They really do hate Puerto Rico. That's insane. It wasn't a joke. They actually think Puerto Rico is garbage. Where approximately 94% of residents speak Spanish. In summary, while the executive order establishes English as the official language of the United States, its practical effects will largely depend on how individual federal agencies and organizations choose to implement or modify their language accessibility services. As I said, Trump has consolidated control of majority of federal agencies now, whether that be by bringing them under the executive umbrella or just having a loyalist appointed as the department head. So he wouldn't sign this order if he wasn't planning on implementing this in some form. You know what I mean? I also asked, could you give me some examples of government programs with language accessibility options that could be effective? We're not going to read all these, but you can feel free to pause and read some of them. But we have like Medicare and Medicaid services, SNAP, food stamps. Let's see, Department of Justice. So like, our laws being able to be interpreted by non-English speakers, that seems pretty important, law and order. Wow. So FEMA, like instructions for disaster relief, stuff like that. CDC, so health and safety advisories, 911 services, like these are all things on the table now. And I have zero faith that Trump isn't gonna just let these departments actually have their own discretion. There's definitely going to be some sort of order that trickles down. And even if there isn't, I don't think the people in charge of these agencies would even need an order to start just cutting these accessibility options. But yeah, I just, if you think there's a good reason for this order, go ahead and say something in the comments section down below. If you have any other thoughts, comments down below, and I will see you in the next one. If you made it to this point in the video, I just want to give a special thank you. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button down below. And if you really enjoyed it, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button while you're down there. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. I will try to reply to any and all comments that I can. Until next time, watch that video on screen.